This episode is brought to you by Shopify. That's the sound of another sale on Shopify. The moment a business dream becomes reality. Shopify is the commerce platform revolutionizing millions of businesses worldwide. They simplify selling online and in person and provide 24/7 support so you can focus on successfully growing your business. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/offer22, all lowercase.
This is Optimal Startup Daily, episode 855. Email Communication and Etiquette. How to Use Email Productively with Your Team by Laura Stack of theproductivitypro.com. And I am Dan. I am your personal narrator and your host here, and I'm going to keep this intro nice and short for you today. So with that, let's get to our post as we optimize your life. Email Communication and Etiquette. How to Use Email Productively with Your Team by Laura Stack of theproductivitypro.com. Quote, "One look at an email can rob you of 15 minutes of focus." End quote. Jacqueline Leo, American Magazine editor and media producer. Email has revolutionized global business, allowing for detailed 24-hour communication where telephone communication isn't practical, freeing us from bending over backwards to match up time zones across a large planet. Most of the same people who understand its advantages probably also consider email the bane of their existence, since they receive hundreds of messages a day. Like most technology, email has proven a double-edged blade. Its nearly miraculous advantages often offset by pure annoyance. With a few precautions and a modicum of care and protocol, email offers invaluable benefits for team communication, whether your team works together in the same building or in locations across a continent or the world. Living in the future. Electromagnetic radiation can sprint around the circumference of the Earth nearly 8 times per second in a vacuum. Most transmission media don't even approach the purity of a vacuum, and needless to say, an electronic communication usually has to jump from one type of transmission medium to another numerous times before it reaches its destination. Yet all this has become more or less automatic, and we've relentlessly upgraded the infrastructure ever since telegraphy gave rise to telephony and linked up the world. Now, when something happens, we can learn about it in seconds. With the rise of the internet came a hybrid method of communication that merged electronic communication with the ancient art of letter writing, to the point that it's all but replaced the latter, a prime example of a technological offspring displacing the parent through evolution. For all that many people have bemoaned the loss of detailed snail mail conversations, few have actually stuck with it in the face of much speedier and cheaper electronic mail. Email has thoroughly permeated the business world since its wide introduction in the 1980s, and for good reason. It replaced memos, allowed the sending of large documents, provided quick responses, and even eased the meeting burden for most of us. We can ask and answer questions without leaving our desks, promoting increased productivity. Of course, it also became an entry point for unwanted advertising and self-defeating time wasters like joke and list forwarding, chain letters, issues that could have been handled more quickly with a phone call, miscommunication through misinterpretation, lacking tone, and other junk we never bothered with when interoffice mail, memos, and calls comprised our chief means of information exchange. While some of this has settled out as we become more mature email users, and spam killers and filtering methods have become easier to use, we still waste too much time with email. According to some sources, we spend as much as 28% of the average workday reading email, replying to it, or regaining focus broken by responding to email alerts. Your team can save a surprising amount of time, thus boosting productivity, simply by adopting a few rules of protocol. 1. Turn off email alerts. Email has been neither new nor rare for decades. Rather than leave those dings on to distract you and encourage instant response, deactivate them. Instead, set a rule if you'd like to play a sound when an important client or your boss emails you. 2. Don't live in the inbox. Try to check your email fewer than 10 times per day. For emails requiring a future response or work, click the Move button and select Tasks to move it to your to-do list. Don't use your inbox like a to-do list. If you don't get it done, tasks roll forward, unlike the calendar where you would lose it and have to manually move it forward or change the date. 3. Stop it with the me too or I agree or thanks messages. If you're simply replying thanks to have a record in your sent items, stop it. Simply drag the email from the inbox to the sent items, where it's the exact same record, and search, showing it was sent to you. Unless the recipient specifically requests you acknowledge the receipt, you don't have to say thanks every time a team member does his or her job. Make that clear in a future team meeting so there are proper expectations and no hurt feelings. 4. Get to the point. Summarize what you need up front. Bullet point or number any action items with clear deadlines. Attach any documents or history rather than writing a 3-page email. Pithy, concise emails save time, focus, and energy. 5. Use simple signature files. Rather than use a signature file that includes a lot of graphics and multiple lines, hyperlinks, and graphics that end up as attachments when your emails are forwarded, consider a few simple lines, including your website and phone number. Some email readers can't handle complex signature files. 6. Proofread and edit your messages. The more professional they look, the better. Use proper spelling, punctuation, and grammar. Not all caps or all lowercase, which are perceived as laziness. Don't use texting language in emails outside the company. 7. Use a clear, direct subject line. This lets the recipient determine whether it's something they want or need to answer. Because so many people are working on their phones, use codes in the subject line to convey action or even the message itself, so the recipient doesn't even have to open it. And 8, don't reply to all. Don't use reply to all as a way to attempt to brainstorm with a group of people. It's simply not sufficient. Trying to do this with email will just clutter up everyone's inboxes with rapidly growing email threads. As a last reminder, while email can't replace a good meeting, it can cut down on the need for them. Team members can answer simple questions in moments, and you can determine who really needs to attend particular meetings when you don't require the entire team. But when it comes to a meaty subject, or a need to discuss team direction or fix a process, email isn't the best. In some cases, a quick phone call can save a lot of time and back and forth emails too, especially if explaining something by email takes too long or you just communicate better by phone. So choose your method of response carefully. As handy as it may be, email doesn't work best for all team communication. You just listened to the post titled Email Communication and Etiquette: How to Use Email Productively with Your Team by Laura Stack of theproductivitypro.com. Inflation is running rampant, supply chains are clogged, and the labor market is tight. What does that mean for margins? You might not know. And if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. But not every business is in the dark. Over 33,000 businesses know their numbers because they use NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system to power your growth. With visibility and control of your financials, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more, NetSuite is everything you need to grow, all in one place. With NetSuite, you can automate your processes and close your books in no time while staying well ahead of your competition. In fact, 93% of surveyed businesses increased their visibility and control after upgrading to NetSuite. For the new year, NetSuite has a new financing program for those ready to upgrade at netsuite.com/startup. Head to netsuite.com/startup for this special one-of-a-kind financing offer on the #1 financial system for growing businesses. netsuite.com/startup. And thank you to Laura, who is an award-winning keynote speaker and the best-selling author of 8 books. Obviously, she's known as the Productivity Pro for good reason. Her engaging personality, combined with over 25 years of experience helping organizations achieve results, have made her one of the most sought-after experts and keynote speakers in her field. Laura has been featured in so many publications: The New York Times, USA Today, Wall Street Journal, Entrepreneur, and Forbes magazine, and has been a spokesperson for Microsoft, Danone, 3M, Office Depot, Xerox, and more. And if that wasn't enough, her client list includes top Fortune 500 companies like Starbucks, Walmart, Bank of America, GM, Wells Fargo, and Time Warner, plus government agencies such as the United States Air Force Academy, the Census Bureau, the U.S. Senate, and the IRS. So there's a lot to learn from her. Come by theproductivitypro.com for much more. She's got her videos, books, store, newsletter, and blog all there on the site. Again, that's theproductivitypro.com. Okay, that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for being here and being a subscriber or follower of the show, and for sharing it with friends and family when you get a chance. All those things really go a long way to help keep this podcast and our other podcasts going. So thanks again. All right, hope you have a great day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.